Hello and welcome to this week's Ancient Greek History Quiz. There's 10 questions again. This week we're looking exclusively at the Battle of Marathon. There are also 10 general knowledge questions, although to prevent me having to record it multiple times, I have done that as a separate video. So if you want to do the optional general knowledge quiz, you'll have to go to the relevant playlist for that. Okay, let's start the 10 Greek history questions. Okay, so question 1. Can you name the 2 commanders whom Darius appointed to command what became the Marathon expedition? So there were 2 commanders appointed by the great king Darius for that expedition to replace Mardonius. What were their names? So that's question 1. Question 2. What was the first key target of the expedition? There were 3 main targets. Athens was the third one, but what was the first target of the expedition? So that's question 2. Moving on to question 3. Which city, kind of the second key target of the Persians, so which city did the Persians capture following its betrayal by 2 of its own citizens? So it's a city captured by the Persians, one of their main targets, and it was betrayed by 2 of its own citizens. Can you name that city? Question 4. What was the only other Greek state or polis to fight alongside the Athenians at the Battle of Marathon? So the only other Greek polis to fight alongside the Athenians at the Battle of Marathon. That's question 4. Question 5. Which former tyrant of Athens accompanied the Persians to Marathon? In fact, it was his idea to land at Marathon itself. So the former tyrant expelled, the Persians were going to restore him to power, and that's why he was accompanying them to Marathon. What was his name? Question 5. Question 6. Who was the Polemarchos technically in command of the Athenian forces at Marathon? So technically in command, the overall commander, at least in theory, although not in practice. That's question 6. You may already have anticipated question 7. Who was really in command as one of the 10 strategoi, the elected commanders? So who was really in command, or at least who took over the command of the Greek army at Marathon? That was question 7. Question 8. According to Herodotus, how many Athenians were killed at the Battle of Marathon? So the number of Athenian casualties at the Battle of Marathon, according to Herodotus. It's a curious part, it's a very precise figure. Okay, question 9. Which runner carried the news of the Greek victory at Marathon the 26 miles back to Athens, becoming the first ever marathon runner? But what was the name of the messenger? So that's question 9. Okay, and finally, question 10. What sign of Greek or Athenian treachery is recounted by Herodotus as the Persian fleet arrived off the coast of Athens following the battle? So he records a sign of treachery from within the city when the Persian fleet arrived, after which it sailed away again. That was question 10. Okay, so those are your 10 ancient Greek history questions for today. So let's run, if you're ready. If you're not ready, pause it. If you are ready, let's run through the answers. Okay, so the question 1, the 2 commanders appointed by Darius to command the expedition were Datis and Artaphernes. So that was question 1. Question 2, the first key target of the Persians, or Datis and Artaphernes, was the island of Naxos. You may recall the Ionian revolt had started when the Persians had tried but had failed to capture Naxos. So they were out for revenge. Question 3, kind of the second key target, the city which was betrayed by 2 of its own citizens, was Eretria. You should recall that Eretria, along with Athens, had supplied some ships and men to the Ionian revolt, and it was for that the Persians had come to punish them. Inhabitants were captured and enslaved and sent before the Emperor Darius at Susa, but he took pity on them and they were later resettled elsewhere in the empire, where they still remain, still speaking Greek, according to Herodotus, at the time he was writing. So Eretria was the answer to question 3. Question 4, the only other Greek polis to fight alongside the Athenians. Well, if you said Sparta, you were wrong, because the answer is Plataea. Plataea, a small city with a few small force who fought alongside the Athenians there. The Spartans had been asked to help, and they were on their way, but of course they arrived, I think, the day after the battle. They were late and took no part in the fighting. Only the Plataeans fought alongside the Athenians there. Okay, question 5. The former tyrant of Athens, who accompanied the Persians there, was Hippias. So Hippias was the answer to 5. Question 6, who was technically in command of the Greek army? Well, technically there was an official, one of the archons, called the Polemarchos, the war leader, who took overall command of the army, and then the army was the rest of the forces were split into kind of sub-commanders, the newly elected strategoi. Well, the official who held the position of Polemarchos at this in 490 BC was Callimachus. So Callimachus was technically in charge, but of course he wasn't really in charge. He had kind of delegated that to the most able and articulate of the strategoi. So question 7, who was really in command was Miltiades. So Miltiades was in command at Marathon. Question 8, Herodotus says that 192 Athenians were killed there. There was a burial mound with an inscription on it, so that probably is true, that figure. He also, I think, records 11 Plataeans and 6,400 Persians. Now that latter figure is generally thought to be a bit of an exaggeration. Modern estimates range from 4,000 to 5,000, but even so, a big disparity between the two. But the answer for question 8, just to clarify, is 192 Athenians, according to Herodotus. And question 9, the first marathon runner who carried the news of the victory from Marathon, the 26 miles into the centre of Athens, was of course Pheidippides. So Pheidippides, the answer to question 9. And the last question, the sign of Greek treachery, recorded by Herodotus as the Persian fleet sailed around Cape Sunium and came before Athens, was the shield signal, presumably to warn them that the Athenian army had marched across and was there ready to defend the Athenians. So it's the shield signal that Herodotus talks about, which indicates there were supporters of Hippias still in Athens. Its democracy was not yet secure. Those are the answers in any case, so hope you've done well on that. Hope that's been helpful in getting you to revise the Battle of Marathon. And don't forget, there is a general knowledge quiz as well this week, which you are more than welcome to have a go at. That is on a separate video now. Okay, that's it for now. Bye.